Hi, friends. Welcome to the Mastermind Moments podcast.
Hosted by your pals, Josh and Sasha.
Join us during our weekly mastermind as we collaborate on how to make the most out of our lives.
Not only are we going to mastermind our careers, we're going to work on all areas of life together.
Let's do it. Listen in as we make the most of our mastermind moments.
Yoo-hoo! Hello.
How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. I can hear that you're doing well with that hello, that intro.
I needed something different than the hi.
It is the same tone every time as well. I feel like I respond with the same tone every time.
Yeah, I feel like we should have an actual intro thing. Welcome back.
Okay. Yeah, so Yoo-hoo, that's that, is it? Is that what we're doing now?
Yoo-hoo! I don't know. We
Howdy.
can just howdy. We can just try different things until we see what works.
Yeah. Okay.
Y Oh my god, I loved last week's episode.
It was really good fun. It was really nice to have Mary on, and as we both know, Mary is so profound. Mary and Adam, they're both so philosophical and profound, and they're just like ideal guests to have on a podcast like this. So yeah, no, it was really nice to have her on.
Yeah, hopefully we can get her husband on, Adam, at some point, and then I'd love to have both of them if we could. That'd be really cool because Mary's very profound, but Adam can take one idea and just go deep, very
Yeah.
deep. And we've all gotten not stuck, but we've all been in a situation where Adam just goes really deep and then the other person is not quite in a headspace to
Not
go
quite on that
as deep.
level. Yeah.
Yeah, at that point. There's a time and place. I remember the last time we were all together, it must have been like last July, not this past July, the July before.
California.
And Adam was like, "Can I go deep?" And I was like, "Yeah, let's go. Let's go deep. You got 10 minutes to go on a to go on some sort of journey, and then we got to go."
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, he seemed
And we
to.
went really deep.
Yeah, he seemed to. I remember that summer, and ever since then, actually. He actually spoke to me about how he's hyper aware of him going very deep and people not quite reciprocating. And so he said about, yeah, I want to ask the question beforehand just to make sure that everyone is okay with us going into this level of conversation, that people are ready for it. And I think that's really self aware, really self.
It reminds me of it's like when you want to say something and the other person might not be super receptive, something I've had to do, especially with like my harshness or brutalness or bluntness, is ask the other person, "Hey, do you want to hear my honest opinion? Or do you just want me to just hear you and stroke your hair and say, they're there, poor baby?" And sometimes it's the latter. Sometimes people want me to just be there and listen, which is cool. And then sometimes people want the honest truth, which I'll give that too. But it's definitely an interesting thing. I think that'd be an interesting exercise for you as well. I don't know how you would use it, but I think it'd be interesting,
Okay. Yeah.
especially considering your explosions.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And I've been thinking a lot about that this week, which we can get into, but it's something that, yeah, I definitely need to try different things on because it's been happening my whole life for years and
Mm,
it has to stop.
yeah, or at least find a better way to manage it.
Yeah.
And okay, with that, before we get deep into the weeds of it all, let's spin a wheel. Social. How do you balance your social life with personal and professional responsibilities? What do you think?
My initial thought was that I don't, and that my social life is it always takes priority to the point where I will sometimes leave work early when I'm not meant to be in order to go and socialize. So there's not really a balance there. I think the question is probably more, how do you get away from work? How do you make time to
Mhm.
socialize? But for me, it's how do I make time to work? Although it's not quite that extreme. I think during the day, I have found, especially recently, I've got into the good habit of just hard focusing, solid focusing for a couple of hours at a time, and then I'll go and reply to texts or make phone calls, and then another couple of hours, and that's between 9 and 5, so my working hours. The moment I finish work, I shut off the computer and I make sure that's it for the evening. I switch off. I don't check my emails. I don't check my Microsoft Teams or anything like that. That's it. I'm done. And I go socialize. I meet friends. I go have fun. And I think that's the most important work-life balance there is that you just make sure that you switch off
Do you socialize every evening?
Pretty much. I think especially since I started this job over a year ago now, I work from home pretty much 99% of the time. Sometimes I'll go into the office, but most of the time I'm working from home. And so I think it's really important for me to be able to go out and socialize pretty much every day because otherwise it means that I'm stuck in the same four walls all day, every day. And I actually saw
Yeah.
something interesting. I've seen this quote a few times, but I saw it on Instagram yesterday about how you should use your home to sleep. You should use your home to relax every now and then. But generally speaking, you should not be stuck in the same four walls every single day. You should spend most of your time outside of your home. Otherwise, you will go crazy. If you want the best results for productivity, for mental health, for physical health, you have to leave your apartment. You have to leave your house. So, this guy that I saw yesterday, I think it was a bit extreme. He said you should spend 7, 8 hours a day sleeping at your apartment or at your home and then you should leave. You should spend the rest of the day, the other 16, 17 hours out and doing stuff and working out and seeing people. And I don't think I agree with that necessarily. I think that's a bit extreme and maybe I took it too literally. But I think it's really important to most of your time out, as we've discussed about you, actually, about leaving your apartment.
Yeah, we've talked about that a lot actually. And you'll be happy to hear that this past week I left my apartment every single day to work.
Nice.
Every
Every day.
single day. Every day. At least in the last week and a half since the beginning of last week, because last week we recorded on a Friday, so it was a little bit different than when we normally record, but every day I was out,
Wow.
which was it's good,
Yeah.
it's been good, I've been really enjoying working outside, which has been very nice to it's beautiful weather in Miami, and I feel so much FOMO when I'm sitting inside at my desk and I look at the beautiful blue sky and I'm like, "Oh, I just wish I was outside." So going and working outside has really alleviated a lot of that.
Good.
So
Okay. So it's made you feel better.
yeah, I think so. I think it's really helped quite a lot, and I'm not saying I spend the whole day out there. I typically just spend the mornings out of the apartment until I run out of beverages or get really hungry or have to do something at home specifically. Yeah, the mornings I've been working from my roof deck, which has been
What
nice.
a
As far
luxury.
as me and how I know, it's so nice. Definitely do not take it for granted for sure. I know in the rest of the world, everyone's free not the rest of the world, but where my friends and family reside, it's fucking cold.
Yeah, I mean, if I was to try and work outside, even now, like pretty much any time that we talk, if I was to try and work outside, I'd be very wet, very cold. Wouldn't work.
Yeah, no, absolutely not. So, yeah, but I get to do that, and I definitely don't wanna take it for granted, and I like to go and just sit out in the fresh air. So, as far as how I balance my professional duties and my socialization, I'd say in the last couple months I do it by days of the week. So, Friday through Sunday is my time for fun, my time for social, my time for just my own time to recharge, reflect, be with people. And Monday through Thursday, I'm really bunkered down, doing the hard work, working 12 at least 12-hour days pretty much. It's just and it's not to say that's intentional because I love going and hanging out and socializing on the weekdays, especially after work, go get like a drink or a happy hour, or a snack or something, hang out with my friends. But a lot of my friends I only have one girlfriend in Miami who actually goes out on weekdays, and we just haven't connected in a bit, so I really haven't in a couple months, and as far as, like, that work-life balance, it feels really good because by the end of the week, I'm ready, and it also enables me to really put good work in during the week, like, really good work, so it seems like an okay balance for now, but I tend to be much more productive when I have a lot going on. When "Oh, man, I have this social engagement this evening. I know I have to get all my work done right now. I cannot procrastinate it. Like, it has to happen."
Yeah, I completely get that. I'm the same with my work. I mean, I like to get my work done as quickly as possible anyway. And obviously, I still do a good job, or I try to do a good job, but I like to finish it as early as possible so that I can then go and focus on other things. And whether that be socializing, I mean, on a day like today, when we're recording, this recording is kind of bang in the middle of my work day. And in the morning, I log on early and I'm like, I have to get everything done. I know exactly what you mean. I do very similar.
It's actually interesting because I don't think that's a uncommon phenomenon. I was talking to my high school French teacher, and I was like, "How do you know the difference between kids who are killing it and kids who are not, basically. And she said, the kids who are super active in areas outside of the classroom, so if they're involved in clubs, if they're involved in sports, if they have extracurricular activities, those kids tend to do the best in class. And I was like, that's so interesting because they're the busiest. And she goes, year over year, 20 something years, it's the same every year. The kids who are the busiest tend to be the most successful, which not to say like busy is a good thing necessarily. Like you still need your time to turn off, like you said. But the kids who have a lot going on, because I think it's like, oh man, I have to do my homework because I have to get to this sport, or I have to do my homework because I have to get to this activity,
Mm.
whatever. And I was the same way in high school. Like I had a million extracurricular activities. So it's I mean, it rang true then, it rings true now.
And I would say when I was at school or throughout most of my life, I haven't been busy and I've almost had too much spare time, I think, in many ways. And that has been very counterproductive, incredibly counterproductive. And it is when I'm the busiest that I am the most productive, obviously, because I have more to do, but I just get it done. And I have that
Yeah.
hyper focus that at the moment, work is very busy for me, which on paper is not such a good thing because it's very stressful. But at the same time, I'm thriving because I am getting so much done. I'm getting so many deals done. I love being busy because
Mm.
I love and I hate it, but I generally love it because it means that my income is going to be better, my productivity levels are going to be better. Yeah, that's very interesting.
So getting into the meat of the episode, we have a lot to chat about today. One thing I was really interested in was you asked me this past week for the social media to rate where I'm at the wheel of life in each area of life, rating it from scale 1 to 10. And for those of you who are unfamiliar with the wheel of life, picture a pie and each slice is a different area of life. So we got, let's see if I can do them from memory. And you can range anywhere from 8 to 12 sections, I'd say, depending on what's important to you. Physical health, mental health, physical environment, finances, career, friends, family, romance, personal growth, fun, recreation, spirituality, and contribution. That's all 12 sections. And Josh asked me to rate them 1 out of 10. And I did that, but I was really, and you posted on social where you're at right now in your wheel of life. And let's chat about what was your top score and what was your lowest, or like your top two, lowest two.
So my lowest two are health, and that includes physical and mental health. And I think that's really interesting that they are the two lowest, and I think they have the same score because they go hand in.
Would you rate them?
I think they were both a three, possibly. Yeah, they were both a
Wow.
three.
Wow.
So for me, they go hand in hand to an extent. I think spirituality, and we've spoken about before we even spoke about this last week. When I'm meditating consistently and when I'm practicing spirituality and actively practicing mindfulness, which I think falls under spirituality, I'm in a much better place mentally. And then of course the physical health side of things as well is I think part of my homework from last week was to go to the gym and to take advantage of my 1 week remaining on my gym membership. I didn't go. And
Oh,
it's all of these
no.
things go hand in hand. I know what I need to do in order to be successful in these areas of my life and in order to bolster the scores, but I'm not doing it. And
Wow.
it's my own fault. The power is in my hands and I'm not doing it.
Yeah. What is holding you back right now from actually doing that?
Honestly, I don't know. I think I'm in a bit of a rut at the moment.
Mm,
Physically, definitely. I was doing really physically. I was going to the gym all the time for a few months
yeah.
and then something switched where I was too busy and I just fell out of the habit of it. And I haven't really got back into it, and I've noticed over the last couple of weeks as well that my eating habits have been appalling, and to the point where I was actually thinking I might start a food diary, food journal, like what you were talking about doing,
Yeah.
because it's funny, I saw a YouTuber, he's like this British comedian a few weeks ago, and he used to be, like, very good looking, in really amazing shape, like a good looking guy. Not to say that you can't be good looking if you're overweight, but he put on a lot of weight, still good looking. Everyone in the comments on his videos was saying, "My God, what happened to you? You're fat now." Like, all these horrible comments about his weight. And then he came out and did a video about what had happened. And he'd explained, I think he was speaking on a podcast about it actually. And he said he just fell into a rut where he lost track, exactly what I just said. He lost track of his fitness. He was super fit, going to the gym all the time, ran a marathon exactly like me, and then he fell off. And he started getting into really bad eating habits where he would have 3 different dinners, 2 lunches. He'd go on his way back from work, he'd go and pick up a kebab, and then he'd get home and he'd order, Uber Eats, McDonald's, and then a couple of hours later, he'd have a bowl of cereal. Terrible eating habits, and that is exactly what I've fallen into. And I was watching him, and the poor guy, like, how is he eating that much? He must have the munchies or something. But I have noticed recently that is me now. That is literally I went out and met some friends last night, and we went to this food market, which we is usually where we meet, and I had 1 meal. It was like a steak sandwich and fries. More it should be more than enough. But about 30 minutes later, I was like, "God, I'm really hungry." And so I went back to the same stall and I ordered a large portion of fries, chips, like a big portion.
Yeah.
And then I went home and I had a couple of chocolate bars, and I'm just like, "This is awful." And I clocked myself doing it last night, and I started thinking about what I've eaten over the last week, and it's terrible. It's terrible. And this pretty much every day where I'm having multiple meals. I'm ordering too much when I do order in, and I'm still hungry, and that's the problem, is that I'm just my stomach is I don't know if this is actually a scientific thing, but my stomach feels like it's stretched so far now that I just never get full, and I can just eat and eat until I feel sick. And that's what's happening, and that is obviously really dangerous because that's how you become obese, that's how you lose control, and it feels at the moment like I've lost control, so
Honestly, it's so relatable because I think I'm going through something really similar too. I mean, I know for me, the eating is based happens a lot based on my cycle, and the last week was pretty intense. I was in the phase where I eat literally everything, and I ate everything. And we can get more into it in my section, but I think it's really relatable, and I think the biggest thing with all of that is I think it comes down to momentum. Because once you get started going to the gym, once you get started eating healthy, once you start the momentum, everything else is easy. Going to the gym and working out for 10 minutes, even though you know you're not going to if you just get there. But the hardest part is just starting. Starting anything, starting the business, starting to get back in shape, going to the gym, starting anything is the hardest part, and then once you start, the momentum is there. It's something you and I are both feeling pretty
yeah.
challenged with, and I know it's something super relatable. We talked about it with Mary last week too. So it's a matter of how do you get yourself out of this rut?
It is all about momentum, and it's about building that habit, and as I said before, I have the power in my hands. I'm the only person who can make that decision to change, and this YouTuber who I was watching, the reason he was talking about it on the podcast is because he's now starting this 100-day challenge where he's going to transform his body. He's going to start eating healthy. He's going to start working out. And he decided to do that. He decided that things have gotten out of control, and he decided to make that change. And there are some people, especially in the US, where they don't make that decision and they just let it get completely out of control to the point where it's beyond saving. And that's obviously not where I want to get. I feel like this, in terms of physical health, I feel very fit right now. I'm still playing soccer every week. I have great stamina, so my fitness is very good, but I'm eating a lot and I'm putting on weight. I think I've taken off all the weight from going to the gym over those few months and I've put it right back on. I've put on about 5 kg, which I think is just under 20 pounds in the course of a couple of months.
Wow.
So, like Mary
Wow.
has lost that amount of weight, I've put it on. I've taken her weight. Something has to change, and it is about building the momentum, building the habit, and I think it's the same with meditation. It's the same with all of these things. From mental health, or from a physical health perspective, I know what I need to do. Definitely.
Yeah, it's definitely work out, meditate, and watch what you're eating. So like maybe a food log.
Yeah, and I think the
Yeah.
mental health side of things plays into that as well. I came to the conclusion after the whole thing that we discussed last week about how I fell out of the community. I've now removed myself from the community. They had made up a kind of admins chat to discuss my future.
Yes. Yeah, you talked
And
about that.
yeah, and most of the people in that chat were my friends. And so they were defending me. They were trying to make the other people see sense. And it wasn't going anywhere. And they were keeping me updated. And I just thought, I don't I see the outcome here. What was about to happen is that they were all going to vote. They were going to remove me from the community. And they would send a message out basically humiliating me. They would send a message out explaining why I've been removed, which is, I don't know, it's a bit ridiculous. But I decided to avoid that and to avoid just any further confrontation, I thought, I'm just going to try and protect my peace and I'm going to remove myself from the situation. So I removed myself from every single chat, except for a couple, which I knew I wasn't going to be removed from. And except for my own chats, of course, because they're mine, I have control of those.
Right.
So I removed myself from the situation just to protect my peace and to move on. And they apparently came to the conclusion to just let it go off the back of that, which is exactly what I wanted. But it got me thinking about my explosions and about how I can change that. And in every single situation, I need to just remove myself from it. I need to take a deep breath and think before I do. And this goes back to the whole living with purpose thing that we discussed before. I just need to think and breathe before I do or say, and I would avoid all of these situations. And it did get me thinking about whether I'm a good person or not. I started thinking about, again, am I a bad person? These things keep happening throughout my life. It's a theme. And I want to be a nice person. I want to be someone that people think of and think, wow, Josh is such a nice guy. And generally speaking, I am when you first meet me, and then you see these explosions and you think differently, or people think differently. And that's really hard to comprehend that I want to think that I'm a nice person, but then these things happen and people think that I'm not, and people change their opinion of me. And so I want to make more of a conscious effort. Again, this is on me that I need to start. I think it comes in hand with meditation. If I start meditating more frequently, I'll be more in control of my thoughts, my emotions. And I've been trying it for the last week since I removed myself from the chats. And it's been working for the most part. I have been a little snappy here and there with certain people. But generally speaking, I have been a more actively loving, nice person. And it will take time. I think it will take time to get used to this new way of living and breathing and meditating on things. But it's a change that has to happen because I will keep losing people over this, and, that's it. And I think I'm trying to become more sensitive as well. I think that is
Mm.
again along the same lines, becoming more sensitive and understanding why people may do the things they do. And I think that will probably try it will come back and bite me in certain situations if I become too sensitive. I mean, last night, for example, I was at the train station on my way to meet my friends, and I was feeling very fragile, and I was trying to just take things so slowly and breathe. I wasn't trying to rush to get to meet my friends. I was just trying to take it really easy because I think I do rush life too much sometimes. And I was walking towards the platform of the train, and this guy was like speed walking and cutting across me, and I slowed down to let him past, and he stuck his elbow out and elbowed me in the ribs, trying to make a point that he had the right of way or something, but I was letting him go. And I didn't say anything. I just took a step back, and I was so shocked that that had just happened, and I started crying, as in I had tears rolling. I didn't burst into tears. I had tears rolling down my
Yeah,
face because I
yeah.
was like, I'm trying so hard to not flip out for people. I'm trying hard to give people their own peace. And
Oh my god,
it's
I'm tearing
still
up
and
actually thinking about that.
this is still happening to me. I mean, again, we've spoken about what a punchable face I
Oh
have,
my
and
god, do you see that? That's a single teardrop. Oh my god, I'm crying actually thinking about that.
yeah, and
Wow,
it was
that's
just a
so
really hard
sad.
moment. I was just like, I'm trying, and I'm still that punchable person, unfortunately. And I was just, yeah, I was really upset about it. And I was like, I don't want to leave the house anymore. I can see how people become, what's it called? When they're
Yeah.
scared to leave the house and they're scared of other people.
Agoraphobic, I think.
Maybe, possibly. Maybe that's the American version, but I think it's agoraphobic in okay.
Someone's correct us. It makes me really obviously, I'm fucking crying. It makes me really sad that you're questioning your own character based on how other people are perceiving you.
Mm,
And again, I'm also not there in your day in, day out life. And we've talked about this before that maybe I'm not impacted by this BPD, by these explosions because I'm not in your everyday life. Maybe that's the case. I don't know. And I think that's always been the beauty of our friendship is that I see your friendship from a bird's eye view because I'm not there. I'm not involved in your active day to day life. So it's easy for me to see what's happening as a broad perspective, but it makes me really sad to see you question your character like this. And this is not the first time. I remember the same day we were talking about with Adam and Mary last July, not this past July, the July before, We were on the beach and you were asking me we were talking about the BPD and the explosions, and you were saying you're questioning, "Am I a good person? Are people still gonna like me? Do you think any differently of me now that" and I said, "Absolutely not. You're my best friend before, you're my best friend now. I know who you are as a person, I know your character, and because you have these little outbursts doesn't mean I love you any less. It's just something that you have to bring up upfront with people when you're dealing with them, especially in your day-to-day life. It's important to tell the people around you and prime them, be like, "Listen, sometimes this happens, and I try my absolute best not to let it happen." But it makes me really sad that you're questioning your own character and you're not being kind to yourself because of how other people are perceiving you. And maybe you do play some role in it. I don't know because, again, I'm not there. So I don't know how much of it is the explosions, how much of it is just people thinking you're punchable on the street. I'm not sure. But I think at the end of the day, another thing that comes to mind, I think you talked about this to me during deep COVID, was I was going through something. You said to do affirmations with my meditation. So maybe it looks like in your meditation doing affirmations that might actually really help
Yeah,
to solidify how you feel about your own character. Because if you're questioning who you are, it's a slippery slope. Because if you are not sure about who you are, you can kind of mold into this person that the other people are perceiving, as opposed to being solidified in who you are and allowing that to emanate from you. It makes me really sad to hear that you're in this rut, but I do think it's a rut, and I do think to get out of it, it's the momentum of the meditations, of the working out, of the mindfulness.
100%. I think it definitely is a rut that I'm in, and I wouldn't say I'm depressed or anything like that. It's not like I have the lack of a compelling future. There is so much to be excited about in my life. I'm definitely in a rut, and I think the way that I always know that I'm in a rut is that I sit and scroll for hours. Like, my screen time shoots up, and recently, like the last couple of days, I've noticed this. It's been a really bad pattern, and I finish my work and I sit and I scroll on Instagram for hours, and it's so bad. And by the end of the day, my brain feels fried. And so come the end of work, I'm like, I don't want to do anything. I'm tired. My brain is fried. I feel really low because that's what scrolling does to you. Completely
Yeah.
obliterates your dopamine receptors. And so I think that's the other thing, is making a conscious effort to just put my phone away and just spend time away from my phone. And I'm going to Italy tomorrow until Sunday, just for 4 days. Um,
Are you going to see your dad?
no, no, I'm just going with Savita.
Okay,
So
nice.
that would be really nice just to get away. Again, it's gonna be spending time with nature because I'm going to my mum's place out there where it's just surrounded by mountains. It's on the lake, on Lake Como. It's beautiful. And so to escape for a few days, I think that will really help. And it always does. When I escape London, it always helps. So I think
Yeah.
if I can take advantage of those few days and really just relax and let myself recharge, and then hopefully I'll be in a clear headspace, clear mindset when I come back and ready to take everything on and improve all of those
Yeah.
areas. Yeah,
I would definitely take your manifesto with you and reconnect with that.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But just getting back into that momentum of moving, mindfulness, all of those things that
100%.
keep you holly jolly.
Yeah, and yeah, definitely. I think the other thing that's worth noting is that BPD obviously stands for borderline personality disorder, and I am constantly, not constantly, but a lot of the time living on the border of reality. I don't really fully understand who I am. I don't feel real a lot of the time. And I have a real lack of identity, I think, is a real problem for me. And so I think I mean, your comment about letting other people's judgments get to me or along those lines, I think it's really apparent. It's really apparent
Mm,
because another sort of symptom of BPD is because I struggle with that lack of identity. Whenever someone places an identity on me or they say something about me or the way of, they judge my character, I automatically assume that it's true, right? Because I
right.
struggle to understand what my identity is or what my true self is.
Well, something to note on that is that you are only taking in, as far as my perception goes of this whole conversation, you are only taking in the negative
Yeah,
perceptions and labels that people are putting on you. I mean, last week we did a whole exercise with 2 people who know and love you, and we each came up with 3 adjectives to describe you. 2 both and out of 6 adjectives, 2 of which were adventurous. I said friendly and impulsive. Mary said did she say loyal or loving? What does she say?
Loyal.
I think she said perceptive too.
Perceptive. Yeah, she said
She
perceptive.
said
Yeah.
perceptive, loyal, and
Yeah.
adventurous, right? And these are labels that people who love and know you are putting on you. Probably know you better. I mean, I don't know for sure these people who are judging you and putting perceptions and labels on you, but I'm pretty sure Mary and I know you better.
Oh, absolutely. 100%.
Yeah,
The people that I've had issues with recently, I've known for the best part of 2 years. I don't know them on a
right,
very deep level. The people that I've met through the Yes Theory community that I'm really close with, they are still my friends, and each of them has messaged me. I've had probably a dozen messages from people who know what's going on and saying, "Josh, yes, you were in the wrong. What you did was stupid, but I know what a wonderful person you are." Literally, one of my friends said, "I know what a wonderful person you are, and this doesn't impact our friendship at all." I've had probably 12 people, 12 or 13 people message me separately and say exactly the same. People who
right,
actually know me.
right. But it's interesting when you're looking at yourself, and this is exactly what we were saying last week with Mary, is that when we're looking at ourselves, the first lens we see is the self-critical lens. The first thing you're looking at is your flaws as opposed to the adjectives that Mary and I used, or as opposed to the 12, 13 people who reached out and said that they know you and they love you. You're looking at yourself through the self-critical lens as opposed to the amazing lens. And another thing that we were doing in that exercise last week was we were saying that, oh man, we should come up with a list to describe ourselves. And I think that'd be really helpful for you.
Yeah, yeah,
I think that'd be really helpful for you because at the end of the day, I was talking about this whole exercise we did last week with my mom, and her adjectives to describe me were very interesting too. I don't know if you asked your mom to
no, I
come up with
didn't.
adjectives for
No,
you. That's okay. But maybe next week we should come up with adjectives for ourselves and see what our moms say. Because at the end of the day, your perception of me is vastly different. But your blunt and harshness, that's coming from you because I'm very blunt and harsh with you, but other people wouldn't I mean, some people would say that, but not a lot some other people wouldn't say that about me. So, I think this is just the same thing as last week where you're being really self-critical, and I'd encourage you to, number 1, do affirmations, and number 2, I'd say actually sit down and seriously reflect about who you are, even come up with a legit list of adjectives that you know that you are.
yeah, yeah. I think
Yeah.
that's a really good idea. I think, yeah, to do that. And also, I think it's an interesting exercise in general. Obviously, we did it with each other last week, but to ask friends, family those questions and obviously to give it back to them as well. I think it's a really interesting exercise, especially for someone like me who really struggles with identity.
Yeah. And I think that'd be a really excellent thing to do, in the same way that I have that I don't know if the people at home know, unless they've listened to my other podcast. I have a little book where loved ones can write me a note, but almost something like that, where people can send you adjectives about who you are and you listen to those, not listening to the bullshit ones of other people, which again, you might have been in the wrong. I don't know how much, like what percentage of wrong or right you were in. Everyone fucks up at some point. Everyone makes mistakes. Everyone has those days. Everyone knows what I'm talking about.
Yeah, especially me.
Right. Not to just quote Hannah Montana or anything,
Oh,
but it's okay. Your sister would have
I'm
understood that
sure she
one.
would. Yeah.
You're feeding the negative perceptions way too much, for sure. And you're getting caught up in it. And I know when I do it, you call me out on it. What's going well, though?
What's going well?
What was your top rated score
My
for 2?
top rated was probably, I think, fun and friends were my top rated. Yeah, fun and friends and romance as well. They were all nines. I don't like to put tens because I think there is always room for improvement.
I'm that same way.
I am sure some people, when they do this exercise, they do put tens. But for me, there's always room for improvement. And I've always said that when you talk about how teenage boys, they rate women, right? And even
Yeah.
as a teenager, I would never rate above a 9 because I'm like, there's no one's perfect. There's always room for improvement in the least misogynistic way.
Okay.
But fun and friends.
But also for those of you listening at home, don't rate
No, no,
women.
no. I that's why I exaggerated teenage boys.
I know, I know.
But yeah, fun and friends and romance are all going really well.
Okay,
I think,
awesome.
I'm having plenty of fun. I went to an incredible, I don't know if you saw it on my Instagram, incredible rave on Sunday for Halloween. It was honestly unbelievable. It was this company called Elro, and I've seen them before, and it was mad. Like, they had these giant puppets, just like the people was they had puppeteers roaming around the crowd with them.
That's
They had
cool.
people on stilts, like actors on stilts in the middle of the crowd, that if you tried to film them, they'd tell you to fuck off. And then they had the most unbelievable lineup of DJ. It was incredible. It was such a good time, and, a nice, like, positive atmosphere. So my fun is great, friends thriving, again, despite everything that's been going on with the community. I my friends have been sticking by me. My true friends have been sticking by me, and I have no shortage of that. And then romance, I can't complain. Things are going well. We're going to Italy tomorrow for a few days. Yeah, those are my top 3. So there are things that are going well. Career has picked up as well, as we discussed last week. Finances have picked up as well, as we discussed last week, because of how my career is going. So, yeah, there's plenty that's going well, but I think there's a real lack of balance, like I posted on the Instagram.
And that's life.
Yeah,
That's if you looked back and listened to some of our older episodes, you'd see that it was complete opposites at some points, that your physical health was the top and other ones were not as great
yeah,
or whatever,
exactly. What was
changing.
really interesting to me is when I drew out your wheel after you gave me your scores and comparing mine to yours. And obviously, you should never compare your life to someone else's, but it was so like so janky, but so imbalanced. And then I looked at yours, and it was much, much more balanced. I think there were maybe 2 particularly low scores,
Yeah,
then the rest were
yeah.
between 7 and 9, pretty much. I think there were a couple of maybe
There's 6s,
yeah,
5s, yeah.
but generally speaking, it was much more balanced than mine, and that was interesting. I mean, would you say that you're doing generally well at the moment, or how are things?
I'd say things are generally well right now. I would say since that mindset shift around my physical environment, things have been feeling really good. In general, things have been good. I mean, obviously, there's always room for improvement. I'd say the 2 areas I rated the lowest, and exclusively because I'm not doing much, are spirituality and contribution. And just to share what I'm doing in those areas right now. Spirituality, we talked about this last week. I'm a meditator. I'm a meditation teacher. It's what I do for my first podcast. I've just been out of the habit of, and in the beginning of this podcast, talked about me doing a morning routine, and I was on that habit for a long while. I fell out of it. Just, I fell out of the practice of meditating the last couple weeks.
Why?
And then why? I mean,
Just
to be
asking.
honest with you, I was doing my morning routine, and it was much easier to do my morning routine when I was coming and walking to my desk right here as opposed to getting myself ready to leave the apartment. Not that I'm going very far, but those extra 10 minutes were the difference between me getting ready to go versus me grounding myself. So I think it's a matter of getting up a little earlier, which I can totally get back on. I'll write that on my list. Morning routine. But I haven't really been meditating. I meditated yesterday for like, a actual proper meditation for the first time in weeks. I actually went to the gym too. Momentum, amazing. But yeah, as far as spirituality goes, and I've not lost touch with these really. Feel like I feel the most spiritual when I'm in serious deep reflection, and I just haven't been in the last bit, but I really only allow myself to get very deep in self-reflection during my period because it's the time when I'm closest to my truth, and I just started it today, so it's a great time for me to be reflecting. It's a great time for me to be connecting to source, connecting to the universe, whatever, and meditating and all of that. So, that's, like, the only reason. It's not like it's taking anything away from my life, I've just gotten out of it. And then contribution, I rated really low because I'm not doing much in that area. I'm volunteering once a month for a wellness group here in Miami, but I'm not doing that contribution. I'm not doing it's not contribution that I feel it's fun for me. I'm hanging out with all my friends, and it's also a career thing too. I'm networking, I'm surrounding myself with those people, but I rated it low because my favorite type of contribution is environmental contribution, and I don't really feel like I've been doing that much at all. So, other than the volunteering once a month, I haven't really been active in contributing.
Yeah.
So those are why I rated those 2 scores that low. However, they're not really the areas I'm super focused on right now because I feel like those meditating and volunteering are 2 easy ways to just increase that,
Yeah.
right? I'd say the areas I really would like to focus on are physical health, which we just had a deep dive on that, and I've been in a physical health rut a little bit, and yesterday is my first day back in the gym. We finally got a squat rack, so
Nice.
amazing. So, just back in the gym, maybe going to classes, whatever's exciting me, whatever's feeling good, just back into that, and then the food thing. I did not do my food log, which I said I was going to, and I did not, but you and I can
I
do
think
it.
that's definitely something we should both do this week. I mean, because you started it before and you did it, what, a couple of times and then you fell off? And then
Yeah,
we both need to do it consistently throughout the whole week. We need to log everything. Even if it's
yeah,
just
maybe we'll chat about
I
it
mean,
next
for
week.
like, for me, it would be much easier just to open up my notes app on my phone and literally just as I'm eating to write what I'm eating.
That's exactly what I
Yeah,
did.
right. So instead of
Yeah,
actually physically writing it down, because that's obviously harder and you have to get your book out. Whereas when you're eating, I mean, for me anyway, I have my phone there, so I might as well.
yeah, I think I didn't do it mainly because it's just not a habit, so I wasn't in the momentum of doing it, but I think I was also gonna feel really confronted by how poorly I've been eating these last couple weeks. Specifically last week, I mean, I know I ate really poorly. I was in my luteal phase, so it made sense. I was eating everything. Uh, we went to a I mean, we I ate so poorly. I can't even remember. Friday, we got pizza. Saturday, I was, I think, good through the day, and then I had the same pizza again, and then we ordered sushi that night, but I don't really count sushi as anything negative because it's fish and rice and seaweed, like, whatever. And then the next day, I was fine through the day. I mean, I don't know if I was fine through the day. I remember just snacking a lot, but we went to a baguette and croissant competition where we got to eat. My freezer is full of baguettes and croissants from the best bakers in
Oh my god, so it was them
Florida.
competing against each other. Wow, that's
Yeah,
amazing.
and I went around and tried every baguette and croissant of these top tier bakers. So, obviously, it's not the healthiest night.
But what a life.
Yeah. Yeah, so definitely physical health is something I wanna work on for sure. I think that's just where I'd like my main focus to be. Let me pull up my list and see what I actually sent you. 'Cause I rated that a 6, which isn't bad, and the reason I rated it a 6 is because I'm still doing relatively well. It's just I would've rated myself an 8 or 9 a couple months ago, but now I'm at, like, a
And how
6.
do you feel about track with the physical health? Do you think it would be is that quite easy for you to do? I mean, I've seen you make the shift so many times from eating badly and not working out as much or not moving as much to making that shift within a couple of days. Do you think it's easy
Yeah.
for you to do that?
Yes and no. It's a lot easier when my partner is also on board with everything, which he is, because he's also in the same spot where he hasn't been feeling great about his physical health, and he wants to be eating better too. So once we're doing it together, it's much easier, but if we're not, then we're not, and we've just been Halloween's around, we've just fallen off a little. It's yeah, that's that,
Yeah.
but I think that's the area I'd like to focus on the most.
Okay.
I think I could, not that I'd say it's easy or difficult to make that switch, it's just a matter of doing it. Because the meal prep that I make, like the food I eat Monday through Friday through the day is fine. I mean, right now I'm getting through my freezer full of baguettes and croissants, but other than that,
Are you the kind of
it's
person, do you feel the need to get through all of it as quickly as possible so you can then
no,
resume eating healthily? No, you can
no,
let that
that's not me
last.
at all. Yeah, like, when it's actually a funny thing in our house. Paul and I are the opposite, where he has to finish everything at once, and he will, and it's because it was a issue actually for a while in our relationship. But we have this rule now, just as an example, he gets a bag of candy, and we take a little Tupperware, a little container, and he fills up that little container, and again, super small
Yeah.
container, and he puts it on the top shelf, and whenever I want a little snack, a little treat, I go and rummage around the top shelf, and it's funny because sometimes there's stuff there, and I'm like, "Well, how did this get here? I'd never seen these cookies before," because I know Paul went out and bought a box of cookies
Yeah.
and ate the whole box and left me 3. But it'll take me that little thing of candy might take me weeks to finish. Like, I'll just have 1 or 2.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay, that's interesting because 'cause I'm the opposite. My mum just got back from Australia, and she brought me you've been to Australia, right? Oh, you've never
No.
been, okay, and have you had Tim Tams before? You've
Yeah,
had
yeah,
Tim
yeah.
Tams. So, she brought back 5 boxes of Tim Tams, and she gave me a couple of them, and I'm like, "I can't eat healthily until I've got through these because 'cause I'll feel guilty having them there." So, I have to finish them. I have to finish them, and I literally got through a whole box in a day, and I have to finish them, otherwise I just can't eat healthily.
Yeah, no, I'm not like that at
Okay.
all. I'm not like that at all. I will save things, and Paul actually makes fun of me. He's Our freezer is crazy because I just have stuff in there that it's like a pint of ice cream will take me probably a month to finish.
Wow,
Yeah, like,
wow.
I can't sit down and eat a whole pint even if I tried.
Yeah, interesting. See, I feel the
Yeah.
guilt I have to get through it.
Mm, I'm like I'm very content having a couple of bites and then just being done.
Nice.
Yeah, so it's just a matter of getting back into the momentum of it. That's the area I wanna focus on. It's not even the area I rated the lowest, it's just the area I wanna focus the most on because I've fallen. I was at 8 or 9, and now I'm at a 6, and it just doesn't I know that one area makes such a big
Mm,
difference in every other area. The other A lot of other things are going well, the fun's going well, friends are going well. The area I rated the highest is career, actually,
yeah,
and that was super interesting to me because I think I've been extraordinarily self-critical about where I'm at with my career, and I'm finally at a point now, and I don't know if this is coming or going. I don't know if this is gonna stay like this for a while or if this is just gonna be a fleeting moment of pride in myself, but I feel really proud of myself with the work I'm putting in. And not necessarily I don't necessarily have the success I want yet in my career, but the momentum I have in my career right now feels really good. And I have 3 things going right now. I have my 9 to 5 job, and I like my company, I like the team. The work is fine, but it's not I don't hate it. The work is fine. There are parts of the work I love, but I could see that I'm doing a good job there, and I like that a lot, and I've been with the company in March will be 4 years.
wow.
So, yeah, no, it's crazy. I'm liking the work I'm doing there. I see myself making an impact. The team loves me, I love them. It's neutral to me. The areas I'm really excited in are my own podcast.
Yeah,
The work I'm putting in, I'm feeling so much better. Obviously I do everything in month cycles, and every month the best example I have is a social media. Month over month, I see myself improving. I see myself get better, and that is what's really exciting to me. I mean, I still really don't love doing the social media because I have to be on social media, but doing the social media used to take me forever to record, edit. Like, I don't love being on camera, but it took me forever to record and edit everything, and then I realized I was doing double, triple the work,
mm,
and realizing, "Oh my god, there are these tools that make this so much faster," and then the quality is much better, and just finding be like, "Wow, I'm improving month over month. I'm getting better at this month over month," which feels really good. I had some really interesting I'm not gonna share them here, but I'll share with you privately. I had some really exciting ideas about where I wanna take my first podcast next year, which I'm feeling really excited about. It's making revenue. I see the numbers growing. These numbers that I'm pulling now are numbers I used to dream of. It's really exciting. And just seeing myself improve every month, seeing the numbers grow, finally getting really amazing, heartfelt testimonials have made a huge difference. Before, I was like, this is such a one sided platform. Podcasting is very one sided for those of you listening. So if there are any podcasts you love, doesn't matter if it's ours or not ours, leave reviews for them because it really does make that much of a difference for us to know what's going well, what's not going well, what do you like, what do you not like, what impact is it making in your life. And getting those testimonials means so much because I'm like, wow, I'm actually making a difference. When I get a message from somebody saying, wow, I listen to your visualization meditations and it helps me visualize my goals and go after them and really achieve what I want, it makes me feel amazing.
of
And I'm like,
course.
wow, I'm not doing this work for no reason. There's actual purpose here. So that is feeling really good right now. I'm feeling really excited about it. And then as far as this podcast goes with you and me, I'm just loving the work. I feel really excited about it. Having a guest last week was really exciting. I'd love to get more into guests just in general. Like, I know the momentum's going with our social media. If you guys haven't followed us, go follow us. What's our
Mastermind_moments.
mastermind underscore moments on Instagram, guys? Hit us with a follow. DM us, please. We want to be friends with y'all. But seeing the momentum with that, just things are happening. So I feel really excited. And again, I'm not at the success level I want to be, but it's not really about the destination. It's about the journey. It's about month over month. I'm seeing growth and improvement, and it makes me feel so good, especially since I'm putting in the hours. And that's the other thing is like I am putting in the work right now
Yeah,
for the career. Like I'm doing my 9 to 5 during 9 to 5 and then I shut off and I put the work in for the podcasts. And that has been feeling so good to put in the work and then see your growth, see the momentum and just get excited about improving.
absolutely. With media stuff like podcasts, YouTube, anything where you post on media, it's hard work. It's gonna be a lot of hard work, and it takes time to build it up. As you've seen with your podcast, it takes time, and so many people quit. As you said to me recently, what was this? There was a crazy statistic that
Yeah, I'd say I think it was 90% of podcasts don't make it past episode 10.
yeah, exactly. And so many people quit super early on and they don't give it a chance. But it is the people who continue with the hard work, they learn and they improve and they keep doing what they're doing that eventually they will see the results. And it sounds like it's happening for you, which is fantastic.
Yeah, and also not to I don't think it's just media. I think that's a rule of life in
Yeah,
general. People who put in the work, who continue to push, who continue to go after their goals, even if they're not seeing the results immediately, and you just find joy in the improvement, joy in the innovation, the excitement of improving. And also, you're not going to see results right away with anything. It's hard work. Anything you dedicate yourself to, there's a learning curve, and you just have to keep going. You just have to keep improving, falling on your face, failing, learning, just keep going. And it's not just media, it's life in general. It can be your physical health, it can be anything you set your mind to doing is hard at first. That's the whole point. No one was an expert in the beginning. At some point, everyone had to learn how to tie their shoes.
absolutely. And at some point, everyone is going to consider quitting because things are hard. Yeah, you're absolutely
Mhm.
right.
Yeah, and that's it doesn't matter what area of life, it's always difficult. You just have to enjoy the process of learning, getting better, seeing improvements, and not necessarily focusing on the destination, and I think that's been a really big shift for me, is I used to feel in the past, I've been comparing myself to other people and their success and feeling frustrated, not seeing the results I wanna see, and that was another mindset shift is just continuously asking myself the question, how can I improve? How can I innovate? What value can I add as opposed to why am I not here yet? Why am I not at the destination yet? And then changing that perspective between focusing so much on the goal and the end goal as opposed to focusing on the journey has been such a profound shift and it's been feeling amazing and it makes you more excited to do the work. And I'd say the same thing about physical health, the same thing about every area of life. Getting excited about just seeing the small improvements.
Yeah, and not even necessarily the improvements. It's just well, I guess that is celebrating the small wins and just enjoying the journey, even if you're not seeing any progress. Just letting the process happen.
Wow. Some profound shit this week. Oh, profound shit. I love it. I love it. But I'd say the same thing for you with what you're feeling challenged with too.
But I think for me, it's not even about enjoying the journey. It's about getting onto the journey in the first place. Right now, on a journey, as I said, I'm in a rut. I'm in a hole where it's going nowhere, and I need to.
Okay, wait. You need to change your language around this. You keep saying I am in a rut. You need to put it in past tense.
Okay, I was in a rut. And that's the other thing as well. I think in order to get back onto sorry, yeah, in order to get back onto this path, onto the journey where I know what I'm doing, and that I know that I need to get back on, it is about affirmations. You spoke about this before earlier on, and I've told you this so many times. I'm so bad at practicing what I preach, and
You were
affirmations
so bad.
I was so bad. Affirmations have changed my life over the last couple of years enormously. When I decided to go into recovery from gambling, in so many different areas of my life, affirmations has changed it and changed my mindset and changed the way my brain thinks and works. And I think I've lost sight of that. I had lost sight of that. And I think it's just something about it comes into the meditation practice of just practicing it daily and walking around like I used to and just telling myself I am this and it will come, my brain will change.
Yeah, it's the neuro linguistic programming that you talk about a lot. And it's not just affirmations, but I think it's also in how you describe what's happening. Saying, "I am in a rut," or "I am in this deep dark hole," or as opposed to saying it in the past, or it's all about the tense. It's all about speaking it into what's happening.
Absolutely. I think, yeah, there is a drastic identity shift that needs to happen. I think the best
That's
that is
happening.
happening, absolutely. See, it's hard and it will take getting used to change my language, to reframe. I'm getting there. I am there.
You're doing
I'm
it.
doing
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm excited. I'm excited for this week for I feel like it's a big shift for both of us, and that's exciting. It's just the rut is done. You're done with the rut.
absolutely. It's a new
Bye, rut.
season.
See you. Yeah, it's a new season. It's the end of the month. We're getting into the last 2 months of the year. We're
Yeah,
here.
spooky season is almost over, so we need to leave that spooky season behind and move on and
Yeah,
start
big
getting
time.
excited for Christmas.
Oh, I know. I mean, I'm still in spooky season.
Yeah, it's not over yet.
Yeah, but regardless, I'm excited and it should be a good time, but we'll check back in next week
Yeah.
about everything. Thanks guys for listening. We hope you're enjoying it. Don't forget to give us a follow, mastermind_moments on Instagram. Leave us a review, give us a follow or whatever.
Thanks for
Yeah, we'll
listening.
see you guys next week. Thanks for listening. See you.
Howdy. Bye.
Bye. Howdy. We hope you enjoyed this episode.
Don't forget to subscribe, leave us a review, and follow along on social media.
If you would like us to help you mastermind something in your life, please send us a message.
We'll see you next week on the Mastermind Moments podcast.